Friends, my name is Stu, the announcer. I hail proudly from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it is my honor to present to you Losers Finals here at Low Tide City 2022 here on twitch.tv/IPL Splatoon. Up here on the stage, you already saw them, you know them, you love them. A couple familiar faces and some that are new to the Splatoon scene, but still making waves here at Low Tide. Up first, we got the team of Blush. Splatek, Haya, Boopy, and Lost. And their opponents, the team of Liotos, Kennard, Nishi, and Flaber. You can't count them out. You can only count up. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Fans, the teams are ready. They're in the lobby. But folks, we got to know. Let's get to it. Rissa, take it away.
All right, cut over. All right, you are on in 3, 2, 1. You can be heard.
Are we good? Are we live? All right, well, let's get into it. Welcome, folks, everybody. This is day 2 here in Round Rock, Texas for Round Rock. What is it? IPL Splatoon is casting the set, and we have Low Tide City here. We've gone down from 24 teams to 3, and 2 of those teams were just announced live. That is going to be Blush and 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 first seeds in their pools, but they're going to have to take each other on, and I am joined here by 2 fantastic commentators. My name is Shiny Hunter Zach, and I'll be throwing it occasionally back and forth to Rissa and Siren. Let's start with you, Rissa. How have you enjoyed this event so far, coming all the way down to Round Rock, Texas?
Oh my gosh, it's been such a blast to be here. Of course, Siren and I have been TOing this whole time, so it's been really, really busy, really, really hectic, but also really, really fun and just an amazing experience so far.
And Siren, what has your experience been like? I know you've been competing as well here.
Actually, I haven't been competing at all this weekend. So my online team of Salt and Pepper has been playing, but we have 5 people here total. And thankfully, things went well enough that I never had to get up there and play. So everyone made it through the weekend, and they did really, really well. I'm super proud of them, and I'm very proud to be on a Salt and Pepper this weekend. A lot of new experiences. So looks like we're actually going to be starting the game now. We're getting into it pretty quick tonight.
This is going to be a pretty quick jump into. Let y'all know what it's going to be first. It's going to be Splat Zones on Piranha Pick. As a reminder, this is going to be counter picking, so this is the only map and mode combination we know. Let's throw it over and see what kind of weapons we have in the match today.
Now, looking at these weapons here, we're seeing a lot of familiar weapons for these players. Of course, Flaber on the Flingza, Liotos on the Squiffer, and then on the other side, actually going quad shooter for Blush.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of shooters coming out of both comps. Of course, the utility of having multiple shooters is that you have all this huge pain output and you have that aggression. It's just the only thing that falters in a little bit is the defense. So that's something that Splatek's going to have to watch out for now. A lot of fighting here in the beginning, but that's going to be a 3 down onto the side of 1, 2, 3, 4. Very strong start for Blush.
Man, that's been one of Blush's main calling cards, hasn't it? They don't have really a skirmisher or an anchor in sight. They are a completely all-aggressive team, and this composition has been working for them all weekend. On the opposite side of things for 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be their fresh Squiffer that's taking up that high sniper point, and they're finally going to be able to get control of the zones and give a tiny penalty over to Blush.
They are finally able to get their zones capped and starting to count down their points. Only about 10 points away. They just have to make sure they stall these zones, make sure the other team doesn't get in a position to be able to cap them. Just like that here, they are going to go ahead and have 1, 2, 3, 4 take the lead. And Liotos, oh my goodness, Liotos actually going down to that suction bomb. So this is a really, really great position for Blush to be in right now, as there's now 2 members down of 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow, this is a huge opportunity for Blush to come back in here and absolutely capitalize on this left side of the map and not allowing any members of 1, 2, 3, 4 to re-enter here. It's going to be a bit of a trade, and a couple of members of Blush are going to go down, but they're still maintaining some decent control over the map here. One member of Blush opting to jump out, and that's just going to be high left, and that is going to be a bit of a delayed restart into mid for Blush here.
The beauty of Blush's comp is that they're able to get in, and once they have that control, they really lock things down and play right in front of the spawn. But 1, 2, 3, 4 hasn't allowed that to happen. Blush trying to take it back with some specials here. We see the Inkjet coming out, not able to get some kills from what we could see, but the foil Flingza has gone down. That fresh Squiffer, by the way, that's not a new weapon. That's something that we've been seeing from this team all weekend, and it's been playing for them quite well.
This has been such a back and forth match here. I mean, the zone right now, I keep seeing these penalty points just flopping back and forth, and the lead too, just back and forth right now. These teams feel so even. I mean, right now, as this trade happens here with these two shooters, there's 2 members down of 1, 2, 3, 4, and I mean, it's just so back and forth right now.
Yeah, no, definitely on that topic, Rissa. It's almost hard for me as a commentator to keep track of which team is which, just because it's so back and forth. The control is usually pretty dominant at these early points in zones with a comeback, but it looks like that's not really happening in this game so far. It's been so back and forth that it's just, like, honestly, this huge team fight. It doesn't even feel like Splatoon right now. I'm not going to lie.
We're in a 2v2 situation right now. We've seen a couple of different weapons sort of take center stage here in terms of farming up ink armor. We have these teams displaying one on each side. The Splattershot Jr., which just went down after using the armor. And on the opposite side of things for 1, 2, 3, 4, we have the NZAP 85, which has been quite a popular meta weapon, not only in the West Bend of Japan, as well as we see a pretty fantastic shot there on that Squiffer on Lost.
This has been a good setup here happening for 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what they needed, because with Blush having the lead right now, 1, 2, 3, 4 is just continuing to get these picks on Blush, and their points are so close to them getting the lead. But them having specials ready and 1 member coming from spawn for Blush is going to be finally what they needed to take the lead.
Absolutely. Here we're seeing Boopy coming back into the map. That penalty is going down. It should coming out, but Flabber is able to cancel that Inkjet so quickly. This is going to be a very difficult comeback for Blush right now. Oh my gosh, Haya here picking up some of that slack and taking the pick on Nishi. This is going to be huge, but unfortunately getting taken out by Nard. So it's really going to be difficult for Blush to come back now. They were not able to cap the zone. They don't have any penalty to deal with here. If they lock out, this could be game for Blush.
Haya, all they could try and do there was try and put it on their shoulders. They were able to maintain some of that momentum with that suction bomb rush, but they went down and now they've gone down again. It's 2 down here, and that's going to be the end of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, securing it and showing why they were able to make it all the way to winners finals before getting knocked out by NFT Win, and they're trying to make it back there with this first game win.
Who, like Siren and I were talking about, that was such a back and forth game there for a while, but it finally felt like a 1, 2, 3, 4 finally got that momentum that they needed. They finally were able to dial in on what they needed to take down Blush, and once they did that, I mean, it was pretty clean for them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I really loved watching Leotos play that game. Just this Inkjets capitalizing on those high points of the map. When you're dealing with 4 shooters like that, it's really great because they don't have the range to deal with that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting. I would not really expect a roller weapon to have a special like Tenta Missiles, but we saw that Foil flings a roller in there. Missiles being such a popular special of late, and that's a weapon that can really make use of it while also having a decent amount of range, aside from some of the shorter range shooters that we see that are playing it often. However, Blush not able to use the aggressive composition there that we've seen. What in Game 2 do you think they'll need, and what sort of thing do you think they will counterpick on? As I see, we're definitely going to Sturgeon Shipyard.
Yeah, really, really fast counter pick coming in for Tower Control Sturgeon Shipyard. I don't know. I mean, I know that Lost is a Carbon Roller player, so I don't know if maybe that might help them out if they're able to get the paint down for that Carbon Roller. Maybe we'll see that come out. Maybe that might be a comfort pick that might help them.
Yeah, a lot of good flanking spots. It's definitely somewhere a Carbon Roller can thrive for sure. And I think aggression is really key on Tower Control and Sturgeon Shipyard. You really want to get in their faces, lock them into their spawn, and you can't really do a whole lot from spawn to defend tower on this one, especially when you're not running any kind of Stingray.
Well, we are seeing a couple weapon changes here, notably on the side of Blush. They've swapped over to a custom blaster or range blaster, and they're also going to have the Carbon Deco, which has honestly been a pretty popular choice here. The Auto Bomb Launcher, not a very common special, but it can definitely do some serious damage and be very intimidating, especially as they're able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 down.
Blush able to have such a great start here, able to instantly get on the tower and start pushing to that first checkpoint. Having them get 3 members down of 1, 2, 3, 4 was really crucial for them, and I love that they recognized that really fast to take the tower. Now, as they were working towards that second checkpoint, they are finally going to have 3 down. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4's moment to start trying to get mid and taking the tower.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm actually a little bit worried for Blush here, just because they are dealing with that Squiffer, and with 2 kind of low paint weapons, that Junior is going to have to make up a whole lot of room here for the Carbon to move around, because when you're dealing with, again, like with Leotos, you don't want to get stuck in any tiny little speck of ink. Otherwise, it's over if they see you.
Hiya, and also Splat Attack on the Splattershot Jr. trying to play annoyance there, but it's not going to work out. Boopy having to retreat here as well as 1-2-3-4 is able to get back on the tower and try and get the lead here. They're able to secure it as Nard is going to fall, and Boopy, although only halfway to the suction bomb launcher, says, I don't really need it. The last thing they're going to try and accomplish here is to take down this Inkjet, but Leota's able to jump away. Unfortunately, their spot is being camped, and they're going to fall on that one as well. That's 2 down for 1-2-3-4.
Oh, sorry.
I love that Boopy is just right there at the tower, trying to make sure that they're making sure everyone around the tower from 1, 2, 3, 4 is picked, and making sure all areas are cleared. That's really important. Now Blush able to get back into mid, get back to the tower, and with the points this close, I mean, anything could happen as Blush is on the tower.
Yeah, just these tiny leads. It's so narrow. It's basically not even like having a lead at all when you don't have that checkpoint. And on that note, they are going to reclaim that lead and lead onto that second last checkpoint. Oh, wait, this is, yeah, it's the second last checkpoint. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Hiya is going to move back into mid here, just watching for defense as 1, 2, 3, 4 hops back on that tower. They do have that lead now. They can get the direct onto Nard. That is going to be huge for them in getting this tower back and extending their lead further into that checkpoint.
Hiya with that custom blaster, showing that you don't necessarily need one-hit kills, although they certainly do help. Inkjets, again, pretty nerfed over the years, but especially with an armor in tow, it's going to make it so much more difficult to take down, and they're actually going to get the armor as they fall down here. Now we have the Suction Bomb Rush coming out from Boopy, and it's going to result in a 2-down situation here from 1, 2, 3, 4 as they push forward and are looking like going to be able to get the final checkpoint out of the way.
This aggression from Blush right now is awesome. Specials that come out, they're continuing to get to that last checkpoint, and just like that, able to KO the tower and take game 2.
Let me tell you right now, guys, this has got to be the match to watch. This extreme back and forth that's going on, these very specific counter picks, because both of these teams have now seen each other multiple times in this tournament. They know what's going on. They know what either team's plan is, right? So I feel like this is going to be probably one of the closest matches, if not the closest match in this entire tournament.
You know, this was definitely a matchup that we were waiting to see. These two teams had not played each other yet in the tournament. They were not in the same pools and did not face each other in the bracket competition. And so if 1, 2, 3, 4 is really going to want to try and make it back to grand finals, they're going to have to overcome a pretty sizable obstacle. The counterpicking both for the weapon and the map mode combination seemed to work, but now it shifts over to 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you think their strategy might incorporate?
I'm wondering if, maybe they want to incorporate some. It's so interesting, they can do something that's good for that Carbon and Blaster. I mean, it played so well on that. I'm sorry, wrong team. That I went to say bad for those two weapons. Just thinking about how, Hiya was just absolutely popping off with that Blaster. So if you want to try and stop that, maybe you're going to think about something that will stop that, or maybe you'll think about something that'll enable the Squiffer.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like now they've counterpicked on a Clamblitz Humpback Pump Track. And I'm just trying to understand some of the reasoning for that. But I guess we'll see it now, because I just heard that the game has checked up. So we will be seeing everything that we're... what am I saying right now?
What we're going into here. So I agree. I think two of the main weapons that they're going to have to take on here are the very popular Neo Splash-O-Matic and the popular, at least in the West, Splattershot Jr. And it looks like we're going to be seeing both of those again on the side of Blush. However, on 1, 2, 3, 4, again, the classic Foil Flings a Roller and the Fresh Squiffer for this team, and they'll have a Neo Splash-O-Matic of their own, as well as an End Zap for that armor.
Okay, so both teams going into mid here, just starting out the match, trying to paint, see who can get picks going first. I mean, both teams have armor right now, and it looks like the first pick is, okay, not just 1, but 3 picks right now onto Blush, I believe that is. So just like that, 1, 2, 3, 4 pushing up and gonna go ahead and score this power climb just like that.
Yeah, so we get these very early picks. We have Flabber here by the basket, allowing more clamps to go in, holding that basket open, while the other members of 1, 2, 3, 4 are here aggressing. Fortunately, though, Blush is able to get the picks onto the members of 1, 2, 3, 4, so they're able to go back into mid. But you can see how dominating the paint is from 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be quite the challenge of Blush to recover some area here and able to get some clams at the same time. That's a lot of tasks to be accomplishing right now.
And painting is so important because 1, 2, 3, 4 has basically said, okay, we see that your game is very hyper-aggressive. We're going to meet you halfway. We're going to take in some low-range weapons, but we're going to need to also paint enough so that our sort of more niche weapons like that Fresh Squiffer are going to have the opportunity here to do some work. Lost able to get 1 kill and also train on the second. That's exactly what you want to see on a weapon like that Carmen Deco. And so that's going to allow a little bit of an opening here for Blush to reclaim that middle of the map.
Blush able to get a third member down. It's just Nard there as the other members of their team are respawning. With 11 clams at the ready, Blush is looking really good. They get one member down of 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 members down, and now able to score that power climb. Guess what? That's 3 members down. This pressure coming out right now from Blush is insane as they continue to score power climbs. They just need one more to take the lead.
Yeah, absolutely, and they do get that lead. It was just Flabber there who got stuck in that fight with the Carbon, but able to take them out, and that is going to allow 1, 2, 3, 4 to come back in. And now it's just going to be another back and forth in the mid here. And you can see a very 50-50 even split down the center for control here. Both teams are holding on to a decent amount of clams, but it just looks like Blush is a bit more ready to take this fight right now.
And speaking of ready, they have armor here, which is the only special they got to pop in, is also evidently the only special they need. The only member alive for 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be the air armor user, which is the NZAP 85. And that barrier gets broken once again, and they'll start to extend their lead. One down here again on the side of 1, 2, 3, 4. It's basically a 2v1. They might even be able to continue this push.
I love that you see T-Tech there going back to get clams. Leotos there trying to drop down and get this pick on T-Tech. Is going to finally be able to get that pick. And there's a power clam that jumps in from Haya. Able to score that and completely KO that.
Oh my gosh, what an insane strategy. I was like looking at it, I was like, wow, why is this junior staying so aggressive and sitting right by that basket there? That's a death penalty for anyone, right? But they had that pity clam. They were like, okay, I need to take this risk and stay alive here so we can get this game done with now. We don't want any comebacks to even have a risk of happening.
This is unequivocally the loudest I have heard the Splatoon crowd here so far at Low Tide City, and I can't imagine it's going to be stopping anytime soon. We are going to be awaiting our counter-picked map, but it's Blush 2-1 here. This is really turning interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now their chances of coming back up against NFT Win are really in jeopardy.
I know, and thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4 is actually the second seed, so this is a really, really interesting switch up for Blush because, I mean, they are just completely dominating this set so far.
Yeah, I mean, they've been absolutely going crazy. Of course, I'd love to see this comeback or a sweep from 1, 2, 3, 4 as well, but, you know, it's just totally that tournament environment that can completely get to you. And you know, when we're getting this late in, you know, pressure gets to you, and things that may not happen normally can totally just frazzle you a little bit. So I'm hoping they're able to pull through and start getting us some more matches, because this set has been one of the most interesting for me to watch so far.
And man, speaking of matches, Blush has really been through the gamut in this bracket, having 3 matches in winners, winning 3-0 against Push Me, Booger Bottom, and Crown 9, losing but taking a game off of NFT Win, and then moving to losers and leading and beating Cherry Limeade 3-1, and then sweeping through Crown 9 for a second time versus 1, 2, 3, 4, who only really had 3 matches in bracket up to this point. Do you think this gives Blush any sort of inherent advantage, as it looks like we might be heading over to Blackbelly Skate Park?
Ooh, I think that maybe does give them the advantage. They have the momentum. Sometimes that's all you really need is the momentum as you go into a match and into games and sets. Just the momentum to be able to continue that amazing play that you have is I think it helps them a lot.
All right, so we're getting into this. We're actually seeing Leotos switching to that custom jet squelcher. What a little pain in the tuchus that weapon can be here. Those stingrays, if you're able to charge them up fast enough, you will never see the end of it. So we're going to get this early pop onto the Rainmaker here, coming out from 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to fill up their special gouges, and we're already seeing that stingray coming out of Leotos. It's going to be a 2v2 in mid with Lost and Splat Tech going over here to the left, and Nishi being forced to jump out here. This is going to be a very early, surprising grab for Blush.
Boy, we mentioned the lack of a Stingray in the last one. They have brought it to play here on Blackbelly. Splattertech trying to push forward here and carve a path for themselves. They're 2 down. They're one of the only members alive, and Boopy's behind them, so they're not going to be making much forward progress. And I also want to call out for 1, 2, 3, 4, that Foil Flings and Roller is running a combination of Ninja Squid and Comeback. So on a map like this where sharking is really encouraged, that's definitely going to be a nuisance and something that might be able to handle that Carbon Roller deco.
Oh, speaking of handling that Carbon Roller, Flabber able to get that pick on Lost on the Carbon Roller. Love to see a Roller 1v1 happening there. Now, Flabber here sharking, maybe waiting to see if anyone is going to jump out. Actually goes ahead and uses those missiles. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to opt to go this left path.
Yeah, no, I think that was a really smart move from Flabber there. When you have the missiles, you can sort of figure out what members of the other team are sitting on what side of the map, so then you'll know exactly what side you can push a lot easier, and that's exactly what they've done here. So now they've been reacting to this, and they're moving on to the right side here. That Rainmaker is going to have to move back into mid to react to that, and they do have some members down, so it looks like it's just going to be Nishi stalling that Rainmaker in mid while they get more advantage here.
That's a shame, too, because Leotis was using that Stingray in exactly where you want it to, or don't want to if you're on the other team here. We are going to be in a 3v and now 4v2 situation here for Blush, but they can't pick up the Rainmaker yet as we see 1, 2, 3, 4 opting to pop that Suction Bomb Rush from their Neo Splash-O-Matic. However, Blush finally going to pick it up, and they have a decent amount of painting. They might be able to extend their lead here.
With 2 members down of 1, 2, 3, 4. I love that T-Tech is grabbing the Rainmaker and just running it. They know that, hey, I'm going to go down, but I'm just going to push the Rainmaker as far as I possibly can. Sometimes that's the call that you have to make, and I think that was a great call because they got their score all the way down to 24.
Yeah, I don't even think they were in it for the points that time. It's just sort of what they came up with. Kind of when you want to pick up that Rainmaker just to apply pressure and get it away from your side of the map. I think that's ultimately what they were going for there because they didn't really have any sort of advantage that would make you want to push, but here they are. They got it down to 24, which is pretty decent on this map.
To sort of riff off that point, I would normally say that going from in the 60s to in the 20s is a very, very strong push, but this is Black Belly Skate Park, a very small map, and one that allows for lots of deep pushes if they allow it, and that's 3 down for Blush. However, their last remaining member is going to be the Rainmaker carrier, so not only are they stalling this Rainmaker out, but they're also keeping some paint down in mid, and they're forcing the members of 1, 2, 3, 4 to really focus them down and give their team members some time to come back.
I thought that was actually a really interesting play. The members of 1, 2, 3, 4 were really far back. They needed to get into mid, but with having T-Tech there just stalling the Rainmaker out, it really stalled out any momentum that 1, 2, 3, 4 had. As speaking of, there's 3 members down of 1, 2, 3, 4, and now Blush is able to just take mid control and start pushing up.
Yeah, it looks like they've actually opted not into pushing there, even though they absolutely could. Lost right next to that Rainmaker and decided to go against that, which I think is ultimately a good decision right now. You don't want your Carbon Roller, who's the main aggressor, to be the one holding on to the big heavy thing. So very smart plays. It looks like they're going to be able to extend their lead here if they're able to move any further here. This could be a complete knockout, and it is. That's going to be a very, very strong set win, I believe.
And you can hear the jubilation, not just from the crowd, but from the team itself, as Blush is able to 3-1 after losing Game 1 against 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're going to have to take some of that excitement on to Grand Finals.
Okay, Grand Finals is going to be up next, so remember, waiting in Grand Final is FT Win. So FT Win is going to be the one coming up on stage to fight Blush.
I'm quite surprised by a bit of this underdog story we're seeing here. So I do believe we are going to be going in a bit of a break soon, but I just did want to comment real quick on the fact that Blush has, been completely almost a team of unknown players, I would say. Not huge players, not huge names. I don't think a lot of people recognize some of these players going into this event. So just seeing them move all the way down to Grands, this is huge. This hasn't happened on the LAN in a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
A defined upset from a team that was only formed in early February of this year and is not an established team of any kind will be headed to Grand Finals to take on a very well-established pickup of 2 incredibly strong teams. It's going to be Blush versus NFT Win when we come back.